Rahman Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. I would like to read from you a flyer. This will be the flyer for a program that we're having. It should be on the 2nd of January. January the 2nd, 2022, between 12:30 and 3 p.m. and it'll be food served. The title of this program is, first of all, is the program from the first one from Tufail Abdullah Strategic Command Center, right over there. That's the first program from that, and of course, As-Sabiqun Liberation Movement organization. Then the title of the program, which you'll be able to make the flyer as soon as possible, Masjid al-Islam Strikes Back. That's from 1/2/22. That means January the 2nd, 2022. From 12:30 p.m. to, it has 3 p.m. here. We'll put 3:30 p.m. to give us time to eat and what have you before prayer. From 12:30 to 3:30. That's on a Sunday. And of course, right here, 4603 Benning Road, Southeast. Of course, Washington, D.C., 20019. And dinner will be served. And then we have the ayat from, might as well just read it as quick as possible. It's from dealing with As-Sabiqun. Is Surah Tawbah, ayat 100. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَالسَّابِقُونَ الْأَوَّلُونَ مِنَ الْمُهَاجِرِينَ وَالْأَنصَارِ وَالَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوهُمْ بِإِحْسَانٍ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ وَرَضُوا عَنْهُ وَأَعَدَّ لَهُمْ جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا ذلك الفوز العظيم. This is from Surah Tawbah, ayat 100, our favorite ayat. The vanguard of Islam, that's As-Sabiqun al-Awwalun, the first who forsook their homes, and of those who gave them aid, and also those who follow them in all good deeds. Well pleased is Allah with them, as they are with Him. For them hath He prepared gardens under which rivers flow. And then followed that up with the hadith, our favorite hadith, hadith 125 in this book right here. And Tauban Kala Rasulullahi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Yakulu idha amsa wa iza asbaha thalathan. Radiyatu billahi rabban wa bil islam dina wa bi Muhammad and Nabiyan sallallahu alayhi wasallam ila kana Kan Allahi an yarditu? No. Yarditu Yawm al-Qiyamah. It is related on the authority of Tauban that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if a Muslim says the following supplication 3 times in the morning and in the evening, Allah has made it incumbent upon himself to please him on the doomsday. I am satisfied with Allah as my Lord, Islam is my religion, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace and blessings be upon him, as the messenger of Allah. This is in Ahmed and Tirmidhi. I know we've been going over these quite a bit, and there's a special reason for it, which we'll get to in a little while. This is what we're doing now. We'll put it on DVD. This is the flyer. We'll pass them out both together. Then after we pass them out, then we'll go around the next week or within a reasonable time, and we'll do fundraising. In other words, but this what we're having is a fundraiser too. But we're going to go around to several of the big centers, and we're going to put our message out. You can probably see why that's needed, but I'll finish up. The subjects to be covered. This is on the flyer. First of all, it's an apology to Iran, Syria, Yemen, Palestine, Afghanistan, Hezbollah, for not speaking out on their behalf. An open condemnation for the U.S. and the Zionists for the destruction of Libya, Iraq, Syria, Yemen, and the illegal occupation of Palestine. Okay. We'll pass on that ayat. And there's a hadith that if you see a wrong being done, I don't have it written here, but we could find it easy. Stop it with your hand. Stop it with physical force. If you can't, speak out about it. If you can't do that, if you're under, a lot of people don't know if some of them dictatorships we got back home, and technically here, you can speak out, but you see what life is like for some of us. I mean, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't do this. And I don't think nobody else would too. You know why? Because I don't see nobody doing it. Somebody would have got the bug, but I think they did a mathematical thought about it and added it all up, and it came out to, I don't want to do that. So if you see a wrong being done, stop it with your hand. Use physical force. We're not able to do that right now. If you can't do that, speak out about it. We can do that. We had been doing it in the past, and now we're back on our job. And if you can't even do that, at least speak out about it. So we can speak out about it here. You just have to pay the cost. If you know what the cost is and you're willing to pay it, well, good for you. And then this has our number 202-904-1152. 202-904-1152. Okay. So that's our flower. And we will, yep. Now I would like to just say a couple of things to go along with that, which this will be on the DVD also. If y'all remember a little while ago, I had this gadget here, and it had Dr. C.L. Franklin, Aretha Franklin's father, was speaking, and this woman got the Holy Ghost. Like a lot of people have never even heard of the Holy Ghost. They don't know that she had a nice, modest, that's a standard case of the Holy Ghost. I mean, like on the movies, they exaggerate. They have people turning flips and stuff on TV in the movies. They don't do that. But all that other stuff, hey, man. And the reason, some of it is very true. Because you remember in those days, that's just the early 50s, we were still coming out of a real perilous period. And the only time you had a chance to release after all of that oppression, 6 days a week you were oppressed. You had to hold your head down. You was kicked in the behind. All the humiliation. And then you come 1 day a week and you get a chance to express yourself. You know what I mean? Or it comes out, the preacher's preaching, and hey, it ain't just one person get the Holy Ghost, sometime a whole crew, mostly sisters. But that really is okay, let's say 50-50. Let's say half of them want attention and they got a little light feeling, but so they just stretching out, having a good time. Getting fanned and all that, the ushers taking care of them. People, but that's part of it too, because if you've been ignored all that time and now you get a chance, you can't preach real good, you can't do what the preacher doing. You may not even be able to sing in the choir, but you got your minute or two where you can just let it. Your son just got hung or went to the penitentiary for 40 years down in Dixie somewhere. And you over, and then the other half is real. They really, if the preacher get to preaching good and he hits all those nerves, hey man, it'll just come rolling out of you. So let's say 50-50. Half of it is staged kind of, and the other half is just real. The people, all of us, at least I done observed it a whole lot. And so, you make some kind of, especially nowadays after, they still get the Holy Ghost a little bit in some of the churches there. They get it a little bit. Okay. But I'm going through, and I remember so Franklin was talking about that, and then he gives a little thing about, I guess he was down in Dallas. He said, I may not be with you after this, but whatever it is, I'm going through. In other words, I'm going to keep on doing this. And then, of course, the choir come in, I'm going through, and they sound very good. At least if you're from my generation, like all them people talk that, oh, that's them old coons. Do you know it was two types of music, blues and call it church music? And every group of Negroes in prison, they don't do it now, I don't guess, but they would be in all the corners of the yard and it'd be crews singing. Them Negroes could sing. And they would go back and forth between church and the street. And if you didn't really know, you couldn't tell, but it was sure sounding good. Okay. So that means that you get a connection with the people. And all I can do, I can speak for myself now. And that's what I'm going to do. I've been doing it, and I'm telling you. If it seems like maybe we've been coasting a while, we have been coasting a while. But we've been working coasting. And also, we pre-planned all of this. Everything is basically written out, organized. This has been happened so many times that the first time was when we was young, and when I left the country. I said that things was acting a little funny. So, well, that wasn't the first time. I did it a few times when a lot of stuff came in the game, and I'm young and I know I don't feel it yet. So I would go into a little retirement. The first time I went into a little retirement, I got married and everything, and I just took it easy. And I just did a little light hustling. I'd make $50 a day or $100 a day. That time was a lot of money, you know. But I was just cruising, taking it easy. And I remember that period, you know, and it was a good period. I would take my son all around, and we'd ride in the car together. He would be leaning all over. He was just about 2 years old. He just looked like he was high or something from the weed blowing all on the poor little guy. He never complained, of course. I mean, we went around everywhere. Haight-Ashbury, you know, the white folks, we went all over. We just me and him. I'm in a little retirement. And then after that, I figured out what to do. That's when we come out with East Oakland Enterprises. Yeah, that we're going to do the same thing. We didn't know Martin Luther King was talking the same talk in Chicago almost the same day. But you know where people are, they get ideas. There's a collective mentality going on a lot of things. And they get the feel. And I'm telling you, what he wanted to do when he went to Chicago, he wanted to have a black economic enterprise zone. That's what we did in Oakland. We just called it East Oakland Enterprises. You know, and it worked very well. And it was 1968, and by 71, the government had just about knocked the Panther Party over. Then they looked at me. They said, this nigga is playing. They talking more about them than they do about the party. And they like him because the police would bother people. They said, we're going to call Big Hank on you because the police. And so anyway, so we had to deal with Boss Man. But that stuff about going through that stuff, man, you get a wonderful feeling. And now, the way I'm talking about it now, this sounds like a lot of fun. And it has been a lot of fun for the last 30 years or so. But for them other years, that wasn't fun. Your eyes was getting big, you know what I mean? You know, you're dealing with it, but it was serious. It was how people dealt with, you know. So anyway, we dealt with that. The other thing is time for half measures is done. Time for half measures. Look at the world today, the world right now. Where are the Muslims dealing with Palestine? Remember the demonstrations we used to have? Where are they at? They haven't decreased, they didn't increase what they're doing to Palestine. They haven't decreased. And I believe that their increase comes along with our silence. Look at Yemen. Look at America and the Zionists. The America destroyed Iraq twice. Come through in 91 and just obliterated the whole place, put an embargo on it, and the embargo killed 750,000 Iraqis, mostly children. And Madeleine Albright, you remember they asked her, she said, I think it's worth it. Well, I'll be doggone. And that wasn't enough. They came back in 2003 and rolled on, man, that is brutal, that is inhumane, that is unmentionable that somebody would be that cruel. And they know they lying. Right? They know ain't no weapons of mass destruction. They know he asked April Gillespie, Saddam, hey, can this guy's acting funny. What happened was Saddam was getting mad at the Arabs. Saudi Arabia had gave him 33 or $50 billion at that time. And then what's the name? It gave him $33 billion. Yeah, Kuwait. So now he coming through. They all lie so bad. Remember the little Kuwaiti ambassador's daughter was talking about little babies being snatched out. These people lie so bad. And you know what? That's okay. Well, we're not putting up with that. We didn't put up with it then, and we wanted to cruise to see what was going on. Where's everybody at? Plus, we wanted to develop our own. We knew we had arrived a little bit when we were able to deal with that assault in Oakland. We're home free because now we can. I didn't even never talk to any of my friends about it because they wouldn't even understand it. You know what I mean? Because the response would be, just like my sons, you have to do something about that. I don't have to do nothing about nothing, because that's a Negro. The white man told him to do it. So you got to stop you got to stop the Zionist American system. Because that big sign outside of our place, Islamic Institute for Counter-Zionist American Psychological Warfare. When I came out one morning, I looked down the street where the sign was, and it was gone. So Mukhtar knocked that down. Why was all the stuff about that? Right? Anyway, let me speed up. Time for half measures is over. Somebody has to deal with the Zionists. We have a lot of history with them, so that's our job. That's our job, sure. Everybody else can be scared of them, but that don't mean we have to be. We're not, we're just not afraid of the Zionists. And we're just not. Just like we're not afraid of America. We're just not afraid of it. Because after you done going around about 500 rounds with a joker, you ain't scared of him no more. And in the early years, see, nobody stayed with him long enough to lose that fear of the system or uncomfortableness of fighting it. We've been doing it so long that we feel uncomfortable if we're not doing it. Yeah. Global strategy of Islam, independent movement, strategic counteroffensive. That's what we're doing now. This is a strategic counteroffensive. And all the property and everything around here will be upgraded. When we talk about Imam Tufail Strategic Management Center, right? That's what it'll be right over there. And all of this will be the first stage. The stuff around here will be the first stage of the struggle. The upgrade here is just the beginning. If you would ask somebody 20, 25 years ago about, say, the stuff that was going on here 10 years ago, they wouldn't have believed it because nobody in D.C. did nothing. So they would say, what, all that you can't do that. And then own it, and then Negroes too, right? Everybody else had to buy people's stuff, or they was renting. Or the ones that was locked in was right over there on New Jersey, which is good, but I don't know if you remember during the 90s, everybody was going over there for Salatul Juma. I don't know if you remember, but I know somebody said something about George Bush is an honorable man, and the whole thing people went crazy because it was more than the pioneers there. That's when everybody went there because everything else had been closed down. Can you imagine how dirty D.C. was? They had everybody close down their masjid. Then they say, come to the Islamic Center. We've taken that over. And they knew once you close down your masjid and lose your independence, you can't do it again. The only one that kept anything was Masjid Muhammad. Then when we came, we opened up. And everything we did, it was a kind of a Salafi joint over there. If we sold banana date shakes, they would try to do it. And I would tell them, you can't use green bananas. Just green bananas you got there. I said, actually, just let them get about 2 weeks. The older they get, the better. Long as the people don't see them, if they're long as they're going to like the taste because it's sweet. You know what I mean? So just blend up a big batch of concentrate and have it there, and then mix it with a little ice cream and a couple of dates and, a little milk or water and hook them up. They didn't do that. Anyway, I said, you got green bananas. Green bananas don't taste good. Well, if you're eating green bananas like down in the South, they eat the plantanos. It's okay, but okay, anyway, so they didn't listen. And anyway, that's the way things went. Okay. Well, now with this flyer, we want a photo on that. Like a photo. As long as it get all on one page, that'll be fine. Okay. Global strategy. Okay, we're fighting for the global movement. Actually, we're carrying on with what, and notice nobody else have even remembered. Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui, if you read all of his writings, he talked the Majlis Ashura Islamiyya fi Britannica was a non-territorial government. People talked about it, Al-Amudi and them, all the big groups, but they never tried it. Why? Because a non-territorial government is a big deal. You're not controlling the territory, but you're controlling zakat. You have some authority. That's what he was doing in England. And guess what? When Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui passed away and I went back to South Africa, I said, okay, and they was having all the trouble in London and all that. I say, well, we ought to straighten that up. And Zafar Bangash and all of them said, we got something else we're going to do on the side. And I trusted it. I said, well, it's going to be the same thing. It ain't the same thing. They didn't do nothing. And you don't hear about it no more. You don't hear nothing about it. And it was what we needed at that time. Actually, what we need right now. But everybody remember the movement is going this fast, creating a new global system. Creating global something or other of Islam. Yeah, new civilization is, yeah. Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui thought like that. We think like that. That's why Dr. Siddiqui didn't choose none of them. Because they didn't think like that. And to prove it, they made sure, I don't care how much money they have and nothing, they made absolutely no move on that. None. Okay. And you can see why they would all turn, everybody was there listening. Muhammad Al-Asi, where's he at? Zafar Bangash, you see him every now and then on press TV and stuff. But he didn't reorganize the whole Eurocentric crew up there, in Canada. And the poor brother has nothing to do with it. That's all right. The Oakland story, that's the greatest story ever told. Boy, I'm telling you, we're going to tell that over and over again. The Oakland story? Hey, when we talk about the Stalingrad, that is the Stalingrad. that Oakland. That was the most serious battle in World War II. And that broke the back of the Wehrmacht, the German onslaught. When the Russians wrapped them up, the Eastern Front, when they wanted to punish you in Germany, they wouldn't send you to the Western Front like France and all that. They'd send you to the Eastern Front with them Russians. And it took them a minute, boy, but they came on by 44, 45, they was in Berlin. And all of that way, fighting. Can you imagine? 5 out of every 6 Germans that was killed on the Eastern Front. They fought in Africa, they fought in Europe, they fought all in Netherlands, up in Scandinavia. And there ain't nothing. The Russians burned they behind. Now, through the Negro trapezoidiousness, this is what it is. We trapped everybody. Ain't nothing they can do about it. We trapped all of them. As this has not happened. Okay, look at the history. Read Black history today. Ain't nobody ever trapped everybody openly. We did. That's what we was doing all this time. And this time was a kind of just a reminder, checking it out and, get a feel. When it's time for you to go, like now, it's time to go. Can't nobody rest and take it easy and cruise. Not now, because it's all unfolded. The way I feel about it is all over for them. Yeah, it's all over. It's all over for them. If we never did nothing, America is finished. If we never did nothing, the British, all their friends, is headed downhill. The stuff they did to our believers, our friends, and the Middle East, they're going to have to rebuild their whole lives. So they got it laid out for them. They can use all new technology, all stuff. They don't have to build them old bricks. You know what I mean? Like they got a chance. They got a chance to offer the world opportunity. Hey, world, would y'all help us? Y'all see what's going to happen, right? Look what they're doing in Afghanistan. They sit over there for 20 years after the Russians was there all the other time. And then they just pop up and leave and say, we ain't giving you no money. You're not having. You talking about brutal? This guy, look what he do to everybody. And this is mind-boggling. That means the Afghanis is getting to be winner. They're starving to death now, today, right now. It ain't nobody working. It ain't nothing nowhere. People are selling their children, selling all their furniture. They left them. They just left them. They said, well, the Taliban, you got to fit into their criterion. Well, the criterion then is murder, death, right? Look what they did to Gaddafi. They just destroyed Libya. They didn't destroy our whole area for the Zionists. But instead of it being a permanent destruction, they're going to revive it. This is the way we see it. They're going to revive and thrive under that. Yeah. And very soon, see, the way we see this, everybody sees it, but something is not, when it touched bottom, everybody going to say, man, that's cold. And it'll all be on them. It'll all be on them. Yeah. Okay. The Oakland story is the greatest story ever told. So this drama, to dramatize, what's really happening is not an exaggeration. Like almost we can't exaggerate the misery that they done put on the Muslims. We can't exaggerate the misery right now in Yemen. We can't exaggerate the misery in Syria. We can't exaggerate the misery that they're going through in Lebanon. We can't exaggerate that. That is real. And what are the Muslims here doing? Right? Okay, they're scared to go over there, but speak out about it. That's where we're headed. All new institutions to speak out about it. This time, we're going all the way. Brother Tufael and I used to talk about this time. Is this the last go round or is this second to the last go round? In other words, what we're in at that time, is this the second to the last go round or is like the period now? Would this period coming be the second to the last go around or the last go around? So however you view it, it has a lot to do with how you approach it. So we've came to the conclusion, this is the last go around. This is the last go around for our time. When they talk about the end of time, this is the end of our period, right? However you look at it, the weather, all of that. The tornadoes just blow all of the folks, most of the white folks in Mexico, but they blew them, they just spin them up and drop them. Hey, man, and they, and they don't have nothing, half of them don't have nothing else. The stuff happening to them, this little stuff happened to us. We're coming out of this now, but this is the worst because remember, we've been dealing with it, okay? We're prepared to sleep under a bridge. That means we prepared for the government to just take everything, to put us on the scrub board, and all of that. That's what we were psychologically prepared for. And we said it and we meant it. Okay. That's in the movement. The people are getting this stuff, man, and they ain't did nothing. All them forest fires, paradises, just burn our town down. The people don't have no insurance, just burn the town down. They get a little bit of rain now, but what was that? That water is so low, you can look around the rim of it and it's half empty. They won't have enough water to turn them turbines. And that Lake Mead used to just be just like forever. All of that water, and that water at the top, that means that it gets kind of small at the bottom. All that water at the top means that it's just zillions and zillions of gallons of water. And the people don't think nothing about it. They turn their hose on, spray all the water. Just, hey, bump that. Okay. Also, I know we sound a certain way, but you have to romanticize what you're doing. And ain't nobody gonna look at what we're doing and romanticize about it. They gonna be scarified. When they think about it, if they got the nerve just to think about the stuff that we deal with, they wouldn't be romanticizing nothing. They would be scared. Hey, romanticize anything that you're doing. So it's wonderful when you see it as wonderful. Hey, this is the greatest opportunity. I know I never thought about have an opportunity to do this type of thing? And with it being real, this actually real? People back then was just wanting a little bit of freedom, wanted to go buy a hamburger at a certain joint, maybe, stay overnight at somebody's place, if they let you. That was about it. Maybe even get an education, maybe even get a job somewhere besides a maid or, stuff like that. Psycho-spiritual warfare with some physical characteristics. Psycho-spiritual warfare. You got to remember now, everything we're using, they're not used to. Psychological guerrilla warfare. They said, "Oh, go ahead, nigga. We'll scare you to death for that." Okay, that didn't work. So now, see, we got boss man by his hurting parts. Psycho. He's not strong-minded, he's weak-minded. Everything he's doing, he's a weak-minded idiot. Nobody would do what he's doing. He's an idiot. The guy is lucky he can talk. And they have the 99% and the 1%. Imagine and it's getting worse, see, because the 1% is getting super duper money. And they increasing the giveaway so they won't go broke, but the giveaway is making them go broke. And increased inflation. I was just in the store the other day and I said, it's all right with me. I mean, it ain't no big deal. But I used to go to Giant and, a lot of the food I cook with that. Giant is probably used to be not halal, but it used to be kind of kosher. Giant has that type of, you can see that in it. So a lot of the food, the taste, it has a certain type of margarine. That margarine last year was $1. 4 things, $1 a pound. Now it's $1.69. $1.69. I said, good God Almighty. And I just watched it go zoop. I mean, it's no big deal, I mean, but suppose you have to pay for that stuff,
Listening to the news from the Fed, the people that actually, the Federal Reserve,
Right.
they actually, one of their guys came out and they blamed the people for the inflation. They said it's because the people are spending money. They actually blame the American people for the inflation.
It's okay. Okay, now look.
People are insane.
They forget Miss Marie Antoinette now.
Right.
That nice looking lady, hair all blonde, had powder all on her face. And they cut her head off. That's what she told them. She said, the people of Paris have no bread. She said, let them eat cake.
I'm glad you put that in some context. Yeah,
That's what they're doing. They said the people, right, it's their fault. It's the people's fault. Too big to fail. When them boys mess up everything, they just give them all the money they want.
yeah, the people just
After people, hey man, once you get to hustling, like I tried it once, I'm not going to be much. When I started making a lot of money, what happened was I worked on my job and I got a chance to, you change shifts. So I got off I was on the night shift for a while. So that means I was home all day. So this is 66. So I had a nice apartment, 2-bedroom, wall-to-wall carpet. It was $110. I had a new Cadillac and everything. But I was still working on a job. Now, because, you're supposed to kind of make it look like you just don't want to be flaunting your little money. So I made a good living. Made a good hustle. But that week, when I was off, I made $1,500 that week because I was home I worked, whatever it was, I was home, was it all night or something? Or I worked at night and I was home all the day. Yeah, I mean, they'd be waking me up, but I was young and I made $1,500. I mean, selling like matchboxes, $5. You got to remember $1,500 in 1965. $100. Okay, people on the job made, if you brought home $100 a week, no, you made 5,200, 1,200. You made $5,200 for a year. And after they tax you, you're young. The people used to laugh at me. They said, man, of course, I didn't have to go to the Vietnam War, but I didn't have no dependents, no nothing. They said they'd throw a party, and I worked a lot of overtime. In fact, I would work. Can you imagine that you get paid time and a half and double on Sunday? They used to. So shoot. And I was working in the penitentiary for nothing. And I come home, I'm 20 years old. Man, I made enough money. People thought I was doing wrong just living. But anyway, $1,500 in 1 week. That's like 15,000 now, or more. It'd be more than 15,000. Because people now make more than 10 times what they made then. They make about 12 or 15 times as much. How much do people make per week now? Average salary. The average person, if they work downtown or so, work in a.
Maybe if they're working downtown, they got to make it at least 25, right? So at least 25, I would think downtown.
They make $25 an hour. How much do they make a week? Do they get paid by the week? Every 2 weeks.
Typically every 2 weeks.
How much do they make every 2 weeks? So anyway,
2,000 every 2 weeks.
and some make 3,000 every 2 weeks. But if you work in the post office somewhere like that, you make about 2,000.
You think they'd be in that between $20 to $30 an hour range? You think? Post office? No.
But anyway, I'm just trying to, let's get back to the subject. The subject is the amount of money. After I was off for a week and I saw how much money I could make by being home all the time, of course I quit. Then I got a quick case, then I went back to work. So the police was there. So I used to lift iron, so I'd have this little. I said, "No, I worked. See, I got to see in my hands, you know." And I just bought a brand new '67 Cadillac and had another Cadillac partner. So that brought attention in those days because people worked. They didn't. You can't afford that. You know what I mean? In those days you just couldn't afford that, and they was the prettiest cars you ever seen. Okay, so here come the white man. So I mean the government. In fact, 3 governments They had the State Bureau of Narcotics, they had the city police, and they had the federal government. And they just strolled by my house. Oh, we just happened to, that's what they could say, they're the government. I say, you just happened by here. You just happened by here and you happened, okay, fine. Of course, I beat the case, but they done already gave me, and they done searched my house and got all the information that they get. And then while they're searching my house, they said, this one is different. You know what they said? He saves his money, because I had 2 or 3 bank accounts, which people didn't have. In the game, said, this one is different. He saves his money. Anyway, let me go on, because this is for a fundraiser, not a social. This is a global rescue mission, and that's our job. We have to rescue the world. We have to look at our job not as a big deal, but nobody else is doing it, so we might as well go for broke. Nobody's even thinking about rescuing the world. They're thinking about urinating on the world. These people, if you know, to read the Quran and hadith and everything about people in at certain periods, and there it is. The people, you tell them the truth, they cover their head up. I don't want to hear that, right? And the people are covering their head. They don't want to hear what we're talking about. And all we're saying is what the Quran say. Okay? So bump them. We got to do, our wives and our children and our family, our friends, everybody that don't want to hear it, their lives depend on what we do. Hey, and it don't depend on getting a good job and protecting yourself. It don't depend on that right now. It don't depend on that. It's not happening. No matter what people want it to happen, it ain't happening. And we don't know when the bottom will fall out. Because when the bottom falls out, we have to get out. The people won't go, they're going a little bit, but go join the police department. Go join those operations. It'll be your job to keep everybody in line, right? But if you got critical mass, now you can do what you think is right. You see what I mean? Because you got critical mass. You're armed, right? You're trained. And who they gonna do away with right away? First, they already got it set up. The crackpot Euros is everything that happened is our fault. Or it's the Latinos' fault, right? Just coming across the border. They say we didn't cross the border crossed us. In other words, y'all took this from us, man. What are you talking about? And see, at that time, when it's critical, everybody's memory come back. You go back generations ago, the Mexicans said, well, do what we can. But then the Mexicans started to remember all the hacenderos that used to own all that land in Texas and California, that they had Spanish land grants. They took it from the Mexicans. And all that oil in California and Texas, they took it from them. They stole it right in front of them, everybody, and made them poor. These people were rich, big plantation. They might as well all haciendas, all big ones, rich. Okay? So they stole it. The Texans stole them, the Californians stole them, the Arizona, New Mexico, Nuevo Mexico, Texas. Hey, I'm telling you, Nevada, nieve, snow, right? Nevada, that's what it is. It's got all that snow up there. Big Valley, yeah. Stockton, California. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, all of those. Where did they get all of that stuff from? Big Valley, yeah, and all of the other stuff. They had it big. Why not? It's free. We just steal it from the Mexicans and then put them back to work on our place and then give them a name. The Mexicans are lazy. The old thing you see a Mexican sitting under a tree with these, lazy. You ever seen a lazy Mexican? They don't make lazy Mexicans. They don't make them. Because you can't eat. Anyway, let's speed up. This is a general or global rescue mission. That's what it is. We have to look at it like that. We say, come on in, the water's fine. We're on the threshold of a new world. We're walking through that door that's going through the threshold. We're going through it. Okay, we've been looking at it and talking about it and setting everything up. Now we're just walking physically through it because that's our job. And we're not turning back, inshallah. We're just not, that's our job. We've planned, we got stacks of everything. The world we want to live in, this is your future. Can you imagine we can live in the world we want to live in, but it's just going to cost so much. Yeah. And can you imagine? We see what we're up against. They ruined all the money. They spent all the money going to war. They don't have nothing good going on. And it's our fault. Didn't they what the people said? The people are spending too much. Well, they give people $25, and the white folks, the guy on what's the name, made more money in the last few months. He made more money than he ever had way back then. Because people are buying tit on the line. My family, they won't buy no more. As I go, they want me to take them. And they ordered the mailman come down there. I said, what do y'all do with that stuff? We just order it. And they drop it off. I said, can you imagine the mailman comes every day, sometime with 2 or 3 things. And what the heck? You can't get in the closet. You can't get into nothing. What do you do with that stuff? And order. Just order. They done got the people addicted. Just order. Order. Hey, shh. Look on the thing, order. When I needed some tennis shoes, I couldn't find the kind that I like, They don't make them no more. I told my daughter, I said, can you order me a couple of pair of these? She got on the line. Ordered a pair. It's got gel in it. You know what I mean? Gel. And when you get older, you can't stand the shock. Or you can stand it if you just want to die. But it absorbs it in a big old, they don't look good, but they big. They just what you need when you get senior citizen. So they ordered me a couple of pair. I said, hey, why don't you order me a few more pair before this goes out? Because I don't care nothing about style. So order some more. Order. There they come. And now they're addicted. And they blaming them for the problem. You're spending the money. Now, what do they think? They done hooked it up so the people don't have to go to work for a while. And now they want them to go back to work for no money. And they saying, hey, you got that money, you better give me some of it. I ain't going nowhere. You ain't working. What you want me to work for? Right? And the thing that happened is they had a chance to think. You can't give the common man no time to think. You can keep him mad, you can keep him upset, running from pillar to post, keep him busy, but don't let him sit back and look around and analyze, hey, huh? I want a better world. I demand it. I'm not going, you can give me this stuff. You got my tax money, and I don't want you to build no super Z, what did Eisenhower call it, military industrial complex. I don't want none of that. I don't want to go to war with nobody. Make love, not war. I don't want to go to war. And don't nobody want to go to war no more. You can get maybe one or two dummies that just from Mississippi or out in the woods or in Guam somewhere, out in the woods, Robinson Crusoe type, and say, I want you to go to war. Yes, sir, I'll go. One or two. But everybody else, man, after that year of kind of cruising, I say, hey, man, it's just worse than me making $1,500 a week 100 years ago. I said, I ain't going back to work. I'm wasting my time. I make $100 a week. And I just turned over $1,500 a week profit. It's only 15 times as much as I was making before. And I'm not tired either. And I can go in the hills and run and walk and lift iron. I had calluses on my hand from lifting iron. Puffed all up again. You see that picture in the swimming pool? I was pretty good, still pretty good size in, but that's when I was making money. I wasn't working on no job then, not in no swimming pool. A nigga at a swimming pool in 1966 and it's his in 1966? Shh, I'm sorry. If you got friends like that, right? If I had friends like that, I had some pretty good friends. Negro swimming pools in 1966. Shh. It's your pool. It ain't you're not to go to ask white folks are swimming. Can I get in the water? It might turn to ink or something if I get in here. But okay, anyway, dear believers, thank y'all very much. We're going to have our program, and we're going to be doing fundraisers on a semi-regular basis. By the end of next month, I'll go back to California. And in the meantime, we'll have this program coming up. And by the end of next month, about 25 days after, we're going to have this on the 2nd, somewhere around the 29th or 30th or something, we'll have another program. That'll get us, see, what we're doing now is we're getting just the rhythm. We get the rhythm, then we go back and tighten up California. Then we be there a while. But now we're in a work rhythm. So all of the stuff that needs to be done, raising funds, doing this, that, and other, that's what we're doing. That's the trip we're on, let's call it that. Yeah. As we say, the party's over. And it's good. And I'll close with this. Dear believers, look, no matter what happens with us, technically we got it easy. You couldn't get it no sweeter. Our battle is mental. If you're just not scared, it's mental. The people in Yemen, they got it hard. People in Palestine, they got it hard. All our people, they got it hard. All we got to do is get on out and run our mouth and all that stuff. And we're going to do it with expertise. Because you notice the quieter we get, the dirtier this system gets. It wasn't like this. And go back 10 years ago when we was out getting around. They looking at it like, hey, man, we going to roll. And the Muslims, can you imagine all the Muslims in America? They ain't saying nothing. We're not with that. We're not with that. We don't care if they come. We don't care if we're by ourselves, because the hadith say if you see these things happen, speak out about it or stop it with your hand. We don't have the physical power. And we don't even think physical power would be appropriate, Speak out about it. And this feeling bad, that's the weakest kind of faith. The hadith is correct. Okay. Are there any questions?
This one was a comment, or it was a comment. It's just saying most imams avoid these subjects completely. I don't know if it's fear or they're doing things in secret, but I respect your courage and boldness. May Allah continually protect you. Okay, yeah. So this one's a little bit off topic. It's kind of it's on a question of abortion in Islam. But here's the question. I've been approached with a question which is beyond me from a young lady in my vicinity. Sheikh, the question is, she said she's 1 month or 1 week pregnant from zina and wants to abort it. I don't have such knowledge, but ask those who knows. Is it permissible in Islam to abort at this stage? Your humble advice needed. Thank you.
Okay, that's above my pay grade. But I just mentioned that uh, it's not that Islam frowns upon abortion, but if it's to save the life of the mother or something like that, abortion is allowed. But just you went out and got what they used to call knocked up, and you don't want the baby, have the baby and give it away. There's 1 billion people want a brand new baby. Yeah. Just have the strength to go through the pregnancy. You want to run around? Okay. So, anyway, I don't know about that stuff.
And one question I had, like for these programs, are we going to kind of promote these programs to our neighbors as well, or is this more focused on the Muslims?
Like to the neighbors, yeah, we'll get around to holler at them. They are always included. But these are like fundraisers right now. Yeah, what we're talking about now, I forgot, when you read the flyer, yeah, you can hook that up right there. And I tell you, if you can get that ready.
Inshallah, it will be done, inshallah, be done by tomorrow evening.
Okay, now what about the DVD?
Definitely by, inshallah, tomorrow evening as well.
Okay, if you can do that, then I can remember, put a picture on that and get a reasonable amount of flyers. Okay, and then see, we can go out. Can you give khutbah Friday? Yes. Okay, we'll go around and we'll put out. I think we'll put out what we're going to do is get all around the region. We're going to put out the flyers, and the DVDs will be for people to hear. Yeah, so if we got a crew, that means a couple of us will be doing flyers, a couple of more can do DVD. But tomorrow, we could do, if we got the flyer, we could concentrate on the DVD, on the flyers. Because what we want to do is like generally, if we go 1 week with flyers, we go the next week with DVDs. Because the DVD, each one of them is backing each other up. And so we got we got plenty of time to get the message out. So, and then right after that, we'll take a hot breather, and then we'll get right back around to get it. Before we go to California, we want to get back into the groove raising funds, being visible, you know what I mean, getting our fingers in it, and when it kicks in, it just kicks right back in, So we're happy with the way things are moving. So again, you could turn